welcome back to Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason. He is Mason 2.0, and we are here to talk about some baseball. So, Mason 2.0, would you care to share your real name with us?
Gary.
Perfect. Welcome in, Gary. First-time caller, long-time listener. Yeah, I think we got some interesting stuff to talk to you guys about today. A lot of stuff has been happening recently, it seems, as far as front office changes and front office feuds with players, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we're going to start off with that, and then we've got a little bit of an interesting topic that Gary and I have been talking about all week that I think we want to bring to you guys and get your opinion. So we're going to start out with the thing that we want to never talk about and didn't want to talk about this week. We actually set a rule about 2 weeks ago to not talk about the Colorado Rockies, and they've already done something that makes it so we have to break that.
Oh my goodness. Making us break rules like 1 weekend. This is crazy.
I'm probably going to use an F-bomb today.
Oh no.
I know. That's another rule. Is Mason doesn't use F-bombs. No, but the Colorado Rockies today have decided that their 7 and 33 start, a 175 winning percentage, putting them on pace for a whopping 28 and 134 record on the season. They decided that things weren't going quite as well as they could. So what are they going to do to shake it up? They're going to fire longtime manager Bud Black. I get it. Initially, like, you look at the record, you look at how the team's playing, and you go, well, somebody's at fault here. And who's the easiest person to pin the blame on? It's the guy that calls the shots on the field, right?
Always, yeah.
So Bud Black gone. I actually kind of want to pull up his managerial baseball reference page. I didn't think about that until right now.
I've got his record right here. I can read it to you right from the trade rumors page.
Please do.
Yeah. So actually, Bud Black has he was in his 18th season as a big league manager, so he's got a ton of experience, and those were over 2 teams, the Padres in their rebuilding kind of era from 2007 to 2015. And then he's been the Rockies manager since 2017. And in those seasons, he's only had 4 winning seasons. And his career record is 1,193 and 1,403 losses. I can give you the breakdowns, San Diego versus Colorado, but you get the picture. Like, this guy has not had an amazing win-loss record. But clearly he's done something right where the teams keep bringing him back year after year. It's not like this guy has no merits as a manager. So I don't want to put too much stock into his managerial record, but also he has not had a lot of success. That is a lot of losing baseball. Oh my goodness.
It is. But I think something that you said right up at the top of that is kind of the key. He was the manager of the Padres during the rebuilding years.
Right.
That kind of implies he doesn't have a great roster on his team. Yep. Then he comes into Colorado after leaving the rebuilding Padres, who he had 2 winning seasons with, a 90-win 2010 and an 89-win 2007, his first year with the team. Comes to Colorado, and the first 2 years were really good. That's a team that had Nolan Arenado, a team that had Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, a couple of just really good players who went on to be really good players elsewhere as well. Charlie Blackmon obviously retired with the Rockies and all that, but there was hope for the Rockies at that point in time. The Dodgers were still really good. I think they won the World Series in 2018. Which one was it?
They did not.
When did they play the Rays? What year was that?
That was 2020.
Oh, 2020. Oh, they went to back to back. They lost to the Astros, lost to the Red Sox in 17-18.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the Dodgers were still top of the division. This is a good Rockies team, but not good enough to beat them. So you can't necessarily fault him because everything was stacked against him in that division, with the Dodgers just being the Dodgers. But then everything kind of fell off the wagon basically after 2020. Nolan Arenado was traded away. Trevor Story was traded away. Guys that they had in their system that were supposed to be good, Sam Hilliard, Brendan Rodgers, Garrett Hampson, didn't pan out. Kyle Freeland fell off the face of the earth after 2018. So who was Bud Black supposed to be managing to be better than 435 winning percentage every year?
Yeah, and I don't think like Bud Black he didn't have like long-term security really.
No.
He didn't agree to his deal for 2025 until October of last year, and at that time people were kind of wondering, is this the end of Bud Black? I mean, he's getting kind of up there in age too. Was he just going to retire? Were they going to move on from him? And here we are, like a month into the season, and they're finally ready to do that. But I guess, what does it matter? Does this matter at all?
Well, so that's exactly my question coming into this is, you knew you were going to be bad this year. The writing was on the wall 2 years ago that you were going to be bad this year. He didn't sign a contract to come back until this winter. So, like, if you were going to cut bait with him at the first sign of trouble, and I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to be this bad, but we expected them to be very bad. But if you were just going to fire him at the first sign that things were going less good than we already expected, why'd you bring him back at all?
Yeah, well, I guess what you kind of mentioned at the very beginning, just the pace that they're on. This is unusual even for really bad teams and teams that are expected to be really bad. Even if the Rockies projection had them as like a 90 loss team, or I don't even know if they do projections over there, but nobody can anticipate going 7-33, no matter how bad you are on paper.
Oh no, you luck into more wins than that.
So I guess from that perspective, I think the firing is justified. Like, you got to do something. So I don't know what it means long term for the Rockies, but makes sense. And they brought in a guy named Warren Schaefer, who is their third base coach, as their interim manager for the remainder of the season. And I wanted to note that Clint Hurdle will become the interim bench coach. He's been working as a hitting coach the last few weeks. Really, he was a assistant to the GM, and he got moved down to field duties as their hitting coach. Now he's going to be their bench coach. So he's essentially the right hand of the manager, and he's a guy that's been a manager in Colorado. He's been a manager in other places too. So they've got a guy that's got managerial experience, I guess.
So my question is, with the interim manager right now and Clint Turtle being the yes, I did say Clint Turtle for those of you listening. He very much just reminds me of a turtle. It's great. But with them taking over the reins of this club from Bud Black, what should the expectation be for the rest of the year? This is a club that so far has only driven in 133 runs in 40 games. They've given up 261 runs in that same 40 games. One of those is, I wouldn't say by far the lowest number of runs scored, because the White Sox are still under 140, but they're at 139. But they are hands down the absolute worst pitching staff. Nobody comes close to 260 runs allowed. except for them.
What I want to see the rest of the year, I want to see any sign of improvement. I want to see every young player that has any chance of anything getting their shot. Today, Ryan Rollison, who was like a first or second round pick several years ago, he got promoted as Chris Bryant got moved to the 60-day IL. I want to see guys like Ryan Rollison. Like, let's see what we have here, and what hidden gem can we find? Like I want to see the Rockies develop, because we have not seen that in several years. We haven't seen it since their good years, the early years of the Bud Black era, where they had these established stars. I want to see more Brenton Doyle success stories, I guess, with this team. I want to see Michael Tolia hit. I want to see anybody.
I want to see Zach Veen actually get some time.
Yeah. We're seeing Jordan Beck actually play really well when he's getting some extended run. So there are very small glimmers of hope, and that's all you can really expect and want to see in this Rocky season, because it's not going to be about the wins and losses, because it's going to be a lot of losses. But, yeah.
But I think I guess our point is that everything else here kind of needs to be done by the front office. They need to actually work with this roster to build it to where you can give opportunities to those young guys. Ryan McMahon,
time to trade him.
Time to trade him right now. Don't wait to the deadline. Give someone the opportunity to get Ryan McMahon now, give you more in a return, is get young prospects, like low-level prospects, bunch of lottery tickets. That's what they need, and they need to do it. They're not gonna. I don't have any hope for that. I think Dick Monfort has this dream wish that they're gonna all of a sudden come back and not be in last place.
I guess there's one more thing on this whole situation I wanted to mention, and that's that the GM of the Rockies, Bill Schmidt, yesterday gave a vote of confidence to Bud Black. So to me, it doesn't seem like he's the one that pulled this move. It was Dick Monfort, most likely, that wanted this to happen. So like maybe there's some disagreement like between ownership and management for this team as well. So that's another thing to keep an eye on.
Okay. I just had a thought. There just so happens to be another opening in Major League Baseball right now that I think would be really interesting to see them bring Bud Black in to be the interim manager for the rest of the year. And that would be the Pittsburgh Pirates, who this week just cut bait with Derek Shelton for no good reason. Like, they're I would say they're in a similar situation, but not nearly to the extreme.
No, it's not as bad.
The Pirates have talent on their roster. They have some young talent. They have Paul Skeens. They have O'Neal Cruz. Joey Bart somehow is good now. Like, they have good things with their club. The club is not performing right now. They're 14-27. Twice as many wins as the Rockies. Yeah.
They're just a regular bad team, you know?
Yeah, they're just a regular bad team. You know what a regular bad team could use? A regular decent manager.
Yeah. And I don't think Derek Shelton was really like a bad manager.
No.
I don't think we have any evidence that says, Derek Shelton was a bad manager. It's more, it's a similar situation in that both the Rockies and the Pirates, they had expectations for their 2025 season, and they're not meeting those at this point in the season. That's why they're letting their manager go, because that's the one place you can really scapegoat, because you can't just get rid of players if they're not performing. That doesn't really work like that.
And the GM's not going to fire himself midseason.
Exactly. So,
yeah, it really only leaves one scapegoat.
With the Pirates, there was actual reason for optimism. With the Rockies, it was all just unfounded, blind optimism for their season that they seem to have every year. With the Pirates, like you're saying, this team has the the very outer makings of a really good team. They've
Yeah.
got like pitchers coming through their farm system ready to be promoted. Like Bubba Chandler's basically ready at this point. Paul Skeens is there and he's dominating, but they just didn't do enough with like free agent acquisitions, and I don't know.
Yeah, the Pirates have put themselves in a situation similar to the Orioles last year when we were talking about how the Orioles had not given a free agent or a multi-year free agent contract in years. The Pirates haven't either. Like,
yeah, you know what the biggest deal in free agent times in the Bob Nutting era is?
bringing Kutch back, probably.
No, but close. The biggest free agent deal that they've given out, 3 years, 39 million for Francisco Liriano.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Dang.
And I was texting you about this. They had higher payrolls 10 years ago in their glory days, I guess, when they made the playoffs 3 years in a row than they do today, when they have like arguably a better core, a better talent on the team.
Yeah, let's see, what is their payroll number right now? Estimated 2025 payroll, $88 million. Yeah, I think 10 years ago they were in like the 110, 120 range.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's what with inflation, player salaries going up and everything, the fact that they're 30 million lower 10 years later is insane. The luxury tax threshold has gone up like $70 million in that time frame.
Yeah.
Like, they only have 3 players that are actually on real contracts that are there past this year as well. And that is Mitch Keller, Brian Reynolds, and Ke'Bryan Hayes. Everyone else is a free agent. IKF, Andrew Heaney, Kutch, Tommy Pham, Caleb Ferguson, Adam Frazier, Tim Meza, and Tanner Rainey. And then they're rocking 5 guys that are not eligible for arbitration and 7 guys who are early arbitration still. So they have money to spend. They can go out and sign. They should trade for a Ryan McMahon, first of all. I think that'd be a good move for them.
But I guess like the names you just mentioned, those were basically all their free agent signings.
Yeah.
This past offseason. And none of those guys, I guess they're all like last ditch guys. Like this is probably their only offer, or maybe like they had one other offer that was for less money or something. Yeah. These are not like, they're not really attracting good free agents because they don't spend.
But to fix this team for this year, though, hear me out. Right now, Matt Gorski is playing first base. Ryan McMahon, he probably would prefer to stay at third base, but I'm sure he would love to get the hell out of Dodge. And if the Pirates were to trade one of their like lower level prospects, who they have great prospects in their system, they traded 1 or 2 lottery tickets over to the Rockies for Ryan McMahon to open playing time for some young players in Colorado to hopefully develop. They bring him in, put him at first over Matt Gorski. He's been hitting better than anybody on the Pirates right now, too. So that helps them out there. I think it's a win-win situation here. And bring Bud Black in as their interim manager, and all of a sudden, boom, you have an experienced manager who has had good seasons, has never had talented players, really, with the exception of 4 years of his 18-year career split evenly across 2 teams. I think it would be an interesting midseason experiment to see if you can trigger something here. I mean, the Pirates still have a 2% chance of making the postseason. Like, they're not out of it at all. I think if you make a few small moves...
Okay, you got higher hopes than me.
Well, I'm just saying, technically, they do still have a shot.
Yeah, I guess.
I think the Rockies have already been eliminated. So, yeah. No, it's a weird situation. I don't think either of the managers truly deserve to be fired for their failings and misgivings, they were both scapegoats for poor starts by bad teams. So it's
and that's the way it's
unfortunate.
always been, and that's the way it's most likely going to continue to be. But it is unusual to see in-season managerial firings because we actually don't see those a lot anymore.
Well, and to see them in May is super strange.
Yep.
So, because we still have 2/3 of a season to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't take long to turn the tides. There's 2 teams right now that started out pretty rough that are currently on 8-game winning streaks, and the Twins and the Cardinals. So all it takes is a hot week, and you're all of a sudden 2 games above 500, second place. When you have a team as talented as the Pirates kind of do, I don't want to give them a lot of credit as being like an incredibly talented team, because they definitely have their downfalls here. Yeah. But this season's not over.
Yeah. And I think we should at least mention the name of Don Kelly, who's taking over the Pirates, and he has been a bench coach for a long time. And he's like, what I've heard is that he's very well regarded around the game. So this might be his chance to show, hey, I can right the ship here. I can show some improvement and maybe secure a full-time managerial position.
Yeah, so wish him luck. Hopefully Bob Nutting doesn't hamstring him and then fire him.
Okay, keep open.
I mean, I can really only hope for one of those 2 things, because the other one's already happened.
Yeah.
I do think we should probably switch from managerial firings of teams that we really don't want to talk about to something that's a little bit more, potentially more of a powder keg, I guess. So I'm going to read you some quotes, and I want you to tell me, first of all, who said them, and second of all, your thoughts on said quote. Okay. And then we will discuss what the quotes are about. Quote, I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there. Who said it?
I believe that was said by one Rafael Devers.
Noted DH without a position.
Yes.
Okay, quote, I'm not certain what issue he has with me. He played ball, and I would like to think he knows that changing positions like that isn't easy. Close quote. Who is that said about?
I believe that's said about Craig Breslow, one president of baseball operations of the Red Sox.
Okay. Next quote. Quote, I think being a good teammate is recognizing when there's an opportunity to step up, when there's a need for the group to be in front of any individual achievement or accomplishment. And I think it's important that that gets reinforced given what we're hoping to accomplish. Close quote.
That quote was said by John Henry, owner of Liverpool Football Club.
That is correct. Actually, it was said by Craig Breslow.
Oh, that's for Craig Breslow. Okay.
Yeah. But basically, what's happening here is everything we talked about at the beginning of the season whenever Alex Bregman was brought in by the Boston Red Sox, taking over third base, Rafi Devers' position. Rafi Devers said, and I quote, third base is my position. This was on February 17th when he said no to being a full-time DH. I'm checking roster resource right now, and let's see how many games he has played at third base this year.
0.
Joke's on you. I don't actually have roster resource pulled up, and I know the answer is 0. So noted DH. Tristan Casas goes down with a season-ending injury. First base is now an open hole. We need someone to fill it. Masataka Yoshida is almost back, but he is a primary DH. Mm-hmm. So how about the guy who played a hot corner goes to the Cold corner.
Yeah, no, okay. I guess to back up to February, I thought the situation was bad at that time, but then it seemed like it had been resolved because a few weeks into spring training, they asked him and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I'll do whatever the team wants me to do." He was fine with the DH. Seemed like they had worked things out internally, whether that was by Alex Cora talking with Devers, whether that's Breslow himself talking with Devers, and it seemed like they had figured things out. And now things are so much worse. Than in spring training because he's like straight up calling out Craig Breslow in these quotes. And like, in those like baseball simulation video games where they're like, so and so is like irate or something, and
Yeah.
and they've requested a trade. Like, we are like almost there with Rafael Devers, and these are real people with the real emotions that we're dealing with, and I am scared for what's going to happen. But
Well,
it's
so what is ultimately, this isn't something we have the answer to, but what is ultimately going on here? Because Rafi was never that vocal until this situation started occurring this offseason. Like, I hadn't really heard any quotes from Rafi that weren't like, yeah, we're doing great. I can't believe we won a World Series. Our team's fantastic. I love this group of guys. That's all I've ever heard from Rafi. And then now all of a sudden he's calling out the president of baseball ops. He's calling out his manager in the media. And it, for something that it seems like your superstar should be open to doing. When Bryce Harper got hurt a couple years ago and the Phillies said, hey, we need someone at first base. We think maybe to get you on the field, first base would be a good option. What did Bryce Harper say?
He said, sure, like, sign me up. Let's go.
Absolutely. He's the superstar. He sees that this is going to be beneficial for him. One, to get him on the field and in the lineup. And two, it's going to help the team out because they had too many players for not enough positions.
I feel like there's way more examples of that happening where the player doesn't really have an issue with the position switch. I mean, look at Jose Altuve. He played a decade at second base and he's going out to play left field now.
Well, and that was actually his suggestion, was for him to play left field. But
yeah, he was going to do whatever it took.
Mookie Betts is now a shortstop.
Yep.
And second baseman. And like, there's so many examples of like people that see the need and they will do whatever it takes. And it seems like Devers got his big contract and then just wants to be what his big contract was. It's like, dude, you're getting the money now. They're not going to ding you for playing a position that has less defensive value.
Yeah. So I do have a like issue, I guess, with the way that Devers has handled this situation, but I don't think the Red Sox are like completely without blame in this situation either, because going back to the Bregman signing, I think the part, and I don't have like the proof that this actually happened, but it seems like the Red Sox didn't communicate with Devers what they were going to do, that they were pursuing Bregman, that this could happen, and then he felt blindsided by that situation. So that's why he made those comments in February saying like, yeah, I'm a third baseman, like, because Bregman signed and he's kind of like shocked by it. He shouldn't have been shocked. He should have very well known he's a franchise player of this organization. He should have been the first guy informed that this was a possibility, because they want to keep their franchise player happy, and they didn't do that. And now they're once again like asking him to make a change. And from that perspective, I understand, like, yeah, okay, they're kind of jerking him around a little bit, and it's just frustrating because, yeah, it is first base. Lots of players have made the transition from third base to first base, but we don't want to like totally minimize the impact that it could have on him. So from that perspective, like the Red Sox are to blame for this situation getting as bad as it has. Also, it's not just Devers that's the issue in this situation.
Yeah. Now, there have been comments going back even as far as the offseason from Breslow and a couple other people that they, before they started pursuing Bregman, they apparently went to Rafi and said, hey, this is an opportunity we have to improve the lineup. It would potentially move you off third. And so they're claiming that they did go to him before they actually made any decisions to get his opinion. But like, do we know that for sure? No, it could be someone trying to cover their ass, whatever. But it's a lot of he said, and it's just a really weird situation. It's reminding me of the last year of Nolan Arenado in Colorado, is what it is. Where Arenado was a guy that wanted to stay in Colorado his whole career, yada, yada, yada. Then all of a sudden the team was going in a different direction and he got very publicly frustrated and then demanded a trade. And that's how he ended up on the Cardinals. Like, it seems like this is very much a similar situation. It would be interesting to see if he ends up on the Cardinals.
I mean,
and the Cardinals get paid $50 million by the Red Sox.
If the Red Sox are actually, they get to a point where they have to trade Devers for like 80 cents on the dollar or whatever, then 10 or 15 teams should be lining up to take his deal. Because the part that we should mention is like the on-field stuff. Devers is like killing it right now. He is just crushing the ball. He looks every bit the superstar that he is. So it's not like affecting his on-field performance or anything like that. And you kind of made mention of Yoshida coming back, and he just does not have a spot to play because the outfield's all filled up. And the other part is they've got guys to call up. Roman Anthony needs to fit on this 2025 team somehow, and he doesn't really fit if Devers is clogging up that DH spot. And first base, with Tristan Casas out for the season, it's right now it's Abraham Toro. Like, it's not, you don't want his guy, like, you don't want that guy in your lineup when you could rather have Yoshida and Roman Anthony and Devers. And they're just sort of like being hamstrung by Devers' unwillingness to play first base.
Yeah, which is just really wild to see. And this team right now is in second place. They're only 2 games behind the Yankees. Like, Devers has, for a long time, been very publicly, I just want to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, he said it last year. He criticized the front office for not doing enough to improve the roster.
Yeah. And so now they're trying to do exactly that. And he just seems a little chapped. And they're very much
just a tad.
Yeah. They're very much in a position to take over the top of the division and run with it. If they can get Devers to just play along, get an upgrade over Toro in the lineup, get your other guys back, this could be a World Series champion.
Yeah.
And this is going to end up being just a black cloud over their head the entire year. And one spark, this thing goes up and this team just collapses.
Yeah.
Because that's a cancer in the clubhouse is what that is.
I was going to say, that's the part we don't know. How is this affecting the rest of the players in that clubhouse? Like, if Abraham Toro is like doing pretty much Abraham Toro stuff and he's not super good, then our other Red Sox players going to be like, what is Devers doing? Like, he's hurting our team. He's literally making our team worse because we cannot get Yoshida on the field. Like, it's,
would be,
can't be good.
You know what would be wild? This won't happen, and I don't think the team would allow this to happen. If Bregman came out and said, hey, I will go play first base. Rafi, get your glove out. You're going to third. We're going to make this happen to improve the lineup. That would be a huge leadership move from Bregman, probably also causing more issues in the clubhouse. But
some of the other quotes from from Devers was basically once he agreed to DH, they basically were like, "Leave your glove at home." Like that was part of the deal that if he became the DH, he wouldn't play the field as well. So I just don't see that changing unless he totally changes his tune.
Yeah, but I don't know. Something's got to happen. This is wild.
Yeah.
It's really wild to see it coming from Boston of all places.
Is it though? I feel like they're known for drama.
Yeah, but it's also one of those that because of who the team is, a lot of people want to try and make them happy so that they could stay and get the big money.
Yeah.
So now,
Theo Epstein had to
granted
sneak
he's
out
got
in
the
the
big
gorilla
money.
suit at the end of the season.
Yeah. So. Oh well. What do you say we switch to something a little bit more nebulous, a little bit more fun, a little bit more positive?
Yes. Let's do it.
So we've been talking about the bad so far today. We've been talking about bad teams. We've been talking about bad situations. In that bad situation, we were talking about a guy who's not overly fast. Kind of want to look the other side. I want to look the good. I want to look the fast. I want to look the positive. We have been talking all week about speed and defense, just in our text conversations. A couple guys this year have really stood out to us as being incredible players that their speed and defense alone makes them an asset to a club. But then you're seeing them add tools, like with Pete Crow Armstrong. He's got his speed, his defense. Now he's got power. Now he's got his contact tool, and we're seeing him do things. We're seeing Victor Scott II hitting 280, stealing a whole bunch of bases, playing great defense. We're seeing Luis Robert have, I think, a league leading 16 steals. Is that right?
Oh wow, yeah.
It's pretty close.
Stealing a lot, yeah.
But yeah, so we're seeing a lot of big names with a lot of steals. We're seeing a lot of really good defenders, and I wanted to kind of do a little thought experiment. Remember in high school, usually senior superlatives. I was teacher's pet. I don't know if you were anything.
I don't think so.
It also probably makes sense that I was a teacher's pet, but sure, whatever. I want to do some superlatives with speed defense guys. Now, I've mentioned some names of some incredible players. I don't want to keep this to just the incredible players. There are a lot of guys in this league right now that, as far as speed and defense alone, deserve some love. I'm thinking, like, go back in time. Terrence Gore was a speed demon. He was on every postseason, or in every postseason for like 7 years as only a speed threat. So I have a list here on StatCast and or on Baseball Savant from StatCast, and I'm just looking at a couple guys in 2024. You know who led the league in outs above average? And had 33 steals?
Who was that?
Jacob Young for the Washington Nationals.
Okay.
So absolutely incredible. 29.7 feet per second sprint speed, 4.2 second home to first time. He would cover an average of 38.7 feet on a play. Grades out is great reaction. Had 6 5-star catches last year, which is the most that we've seen in a season in 3 years. Jacob Young is definitely the epitome of speed and defense. Not looking at any other part of his game, but I don't think anyone knows about Jacob Young.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's just kind of an unknown. Was 2024's first season or maybe 2023?
I believe 24 was at least his first full season.
Okay, yeah. So first time playing, and Nationals gave him all the run in the world because he was providing that great defense. But I guess like this episode is not really about offensive profile, but it still needs to be sort of mentioned because if you are such a bad hitter that you cannot like make the starting lineup, then that really limits you, I guess.
I
don't know I mean, like Jacob Young wasn't like the worst hitter in the league or anything last year. He was still able to like provide value by getting on base and
Yeah, I
stealing
mean,
bases.
last year he hit 256, 316, 331 for an 85 WRC plus. 3 home runs, but he was a big threat to score. He scored 75 times, 33 stolen bases. I think was caught 8. He was caught 10 times. So his
Where is Jacob Young this year?
he's playing center field for the Nationals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacob Young, I think as far as speed and defense is concerned, I think he's really undervalued by so many people. I would almost, my superlative for Jacob Young, I think, is dime store superstar.
Okay. All right. I like it.
What do you got for Jacob
you're
Young?
right,
You got one?
Well, I think just the underrated part is pretty interesting there because like Brenton Doyle got way more hype, and maybe he's a better defender, but it's not like it's by a landslide. This guy's an all world defender, and he's got speed and
Well, Jacob
runs the
Young was the
bases
best
well
defender in baseball last year. Period.
by that stat, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about Jacob Young because I don't know him as well as I should, I guess.
So that's kind of my first guy. You got any guys that you want to throw in here?
Sure. I want to throw in a true superstar. Like everybody knows this guy's name. He's an opposite of Jacob Young, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr., who is now playing right field for the Padres. And basically, since he started playing right field, he immediately became like the best right fielder in the game defensively, which was, um, I guess, not a surprise just because of his talent. And maybe outfield was always a better fit for his like player type as compared to shortstop because he had made like a lot of errors and stuff as a shortstop. Maybe they were like mental mistakes. But once he locked in on right field, it seemed like right from the get go, and there was no learning curve that we really saw. He just from day one, it was like, wow, this guy's like the best right fielder in the game right away. How does that happen? Well, you got good bloodlines and uh, yeah, he I feel like he applied himself to that position change, and I feel like I that's what I wanted to talk about there.
So, did you give a superlative?
Superlative.
A fun little catchphrase.
Oh man. He is Fernando Tatis Jr. is um the boy genius.
The boy
He
genius.
like he wanted to do it, so he did it. You know, like he just became the best in the game.
The
He
prodigy.
didn't. It was just easy. Yeah, he's a prodigy.
I like that. Ooh. So I got two here that I'm kind of going back and forth between. Do I go the young guy or the old guy?
Old guy.
The old guy.
Yeah.
The Glass House.
Oh boy, I know where we're going here.
Do you?
Yes.
The Glass House. Absolutely incredible player. Looks gorgeous. Whenever you drive by this house, it's beautiful, it's expensive, it's everything you want in a house. It's showy, it's unique. But first stone thrown, it shatters. My guy here is Byron Buxton, the fastest man in Major League Baseball in 2025. 30.2 feet per second sprint speed clocked this year at 31 years old.
Yeah.
He already has 3 outs above average this year. He has 8 stolen bases, 0 caught stealings. Byron Buxton is just an absolutely incredible athlete, and we've talked about him time and time again over the last couple of years. Like, his contract structure is structured in a way that the more time he's on the field, the more he's going to get paid because of how good he is. The time on the field, he is Mike Trout when Mike Trout was good and healthy. Mike Trout very much probably also fits the glass house thing here, as Ashley brings up here in the chat. But yeah, Buxton is probably the best center fielder in the game, period. But he's only going to play 100 games.
Yeah. And the part that's amazing about that sprint speed that you cited, that he's been clocked as the fastest guy in the league this year. And that's after all the injuries that have occurred in the past, you know? Like, at this moment in time, he is like fully healthy, and somehow all those past injuries are not really affecting him, or they're affecting him not enough to slow him down enough. He's that special an athlete, I guess.
Yeah, and
at 31 years old, he can still be the fastest guy, and he's outrunning guys that are like 5-10 years younger than him. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's out hitting him too. I mean, he's got a 135 WRC plus. He's hit 9 home runs. He's hitting 271, 314, a 535 slug. He's already at almost 2 WAR on the season. Like, he is having an incredible year. I am actually curious how high he is on the overall WAR leaderboard. He is tied for 13th with Jacob Wilson.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, so top 20 player in the league for sure. There's only one center fielder that is above him in that list as well. So
yeah,
all
so
right.
we just gotta kind of tiptoe around the house and make sure that nothing gets broken.
Exactly.
And
Don't
enjoy
drop
it
your
while it
Legos,
lasts.
because as soon as I
No
start
Legos.
jumping around in pain, I'm gonna accidentally kick something over, and it's gonna
No Legos. No
yeah,
nothing.
no Legos.
Nothing in the house.
Nope.
Nothing in the house.
Bubble wrap. That is our toy.
Bubble wrap.
Yep.
Yeah. Soft stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So we have the glass house. We have the prodigy, the boy genius. We have what was my first one?
I can't remember. It was really
the dime store superstar.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got next?
Well, then I guess we got to go with the rising superstar, and that is Pete Crow Armstrong, who, I mean, the metrics are just kind of eye-catching at this point in the season as we've kind of been traversing these baseball savant pages. He just stands out on every metric that you look at, basically, for defense. Outs above average, he's at 9 on the young season. The next guy is at 6. There's a stat on Baseball Savant called fielding run value, which takes into account outs above average, throwing, and then for catchers, blocking, framing, and throwing. He's at a 10 on the season, 8 from range and 2 from his arm. And the next guy is Fernando Tatis at 6. So he's kind of like way ahead of the field in these defensive numbers. And he's like a game changer, even on the catches he doesn't make. The stuff that doesn't show up on the highlight reel is just the way he's like cutting off balls in the gaps. And nobody really wants to run on him because he's got a great arm too. It's crazy that he probably always had this potential, but now as other aspects of his game have developed, it seems like he's free to do the defense stuff, and he does it so easily. Like it clearly, he's got talent that just cannot be trained for the defense that he provides.
I love your analysis there. Did you mention the 5-star catches?
I did not. I'll let you take that one. Yeah.
So 4 5-star catches in 2025. The most we've had in 3 years. I already mentioned Jacob Young last year was 6 in
And
150
what's a
games.
5-star? What's a 5-star catch?
Catch probability under 10%.
Okay. So these are like the highlight reel, rob a home run or like make a sliding catch on the.
A 4-star catch is like number 1, number 2 on the ESPN top 10. A 5-star catch is like whenever you're inducted into the Hall of Fame, that's on that highlight reel.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they've broken it down on the outs above average page. So they've also put percentages on it. So Pete Crow Armstrong has actually had 7 opportunities for 5-star catches, and he's converted on 4 of those. And nobody else has done anything close to that, like, because they are 5-star catches. Like, they just don't happen a lot. He's converted both of his 2 4-star opportunities, both of his 2 3-star opportunities, all 11 of his 2-star opportunities, and all 10 of his 1-star. So he's like making all the plays.
So basically, he's only not made 3 plays this year.
Correct. Yeah.
It's crazy. My tag for PCA actually was manager's dream.
Manager's dream. Yeah. Because you can put him out there every day, and with the offense seeming to be taking the next step, like even if he doesn't hit, it doesn't matter because he's just so good out there.
Yeah. I feel like I would be remiss to not mention the other guy that kind of spurred these conversations this week. And I'm going to call him the Hustler. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But the Hustler, Victor Scott II. The only other guy who comes even remotely close to Fernando Tatis Jr. and Pete Crow Armstrong this year as far as fielding runs value, or base running runs value and fielding runs value. He is 100th percentile sprint speed this year. He's been clocked at 30 feet per second. He has 4 outs above average, I believe, already this year. And he has been a huge spark plug for the Cardinals. He has 6 outs above average, not 4. Victor Scott has been phenomenal this year. The thing that kind of dings him on like all the fielding metrics is that he has not had an opportunity to show off his arm. Like, he's in the top 20% in arm strength, but his arm value for this year is 2nd percentile because he's only had like an opportunity to maybe prevent someone from advancing. But he's made highlight reel play after highlight reel play. But when he's on the base paths is the important part, because a couple years ago in the minors, 94 stolen bases. This is a guy that can legitimately steal 100 in the majors. And when he's on the base paths, pitchers freak out. Like, they don't know how to handle it. Some guys had to learn a slide step because of him. And so he'll be on base and he's sitting there and he is daring you to take the bet that you could try and beat him, pick him off at first, try and get to the plate, beat him out at second. And he's kind of like a loan shark where he knows he's going to win. He is the house. So he's hustling you and you're going to lose. So Victor Scott II, the Hustler.
Like it. Okay. I got one more here.
All right.
I wanted to talk about this guy last week, but I'm noticing that he's showing up on these lists too. And this guy, he's sort of left for dead. Like, people have given up on this guy as being a good player anymore. He was previously a superstar, and now he's doing some very interesting things on the field. And that's Javier Baez. He's got 84 innings at third base, 42 innings at shortstop, and 127 innings in center field, a position he's never played in his entire career until this year. And he's got 3 fielding run value points this year. And it's very interesting to see him kind of showing his utility man skills again. Because when he first came up, he was kind of doing this. He was playing second, short, and third, and playing all those positions at a high level. And it seems like he's sort of taken to center field, a kind of a position of need for the Tigers, and he's just doing whatever they need. And interestingly, Javier Baez was the guy traded for Pete Crow Armstrong, and they're sort of similar in that their game is built on like athleticism and speed. And even though Javier Baez is 32 now, something like that, the fact that he's still able to play center field, one, tells me he's healthy. Two, he's another guy in that class of like world class athlete. Could probably play another sport. Like they're all round athletes, not just like skilled in the baseball things. So I think that's why a guy like Javier Baez can go play center field after he's never done it in 10 years in the big leagues now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really like that one. I call him the Rover.
The Rover, yeah,
Rover.
I like it.
But no, even like it seems like Javi's just finding his groove again. Because even on the offensive side, which we're not ultimately looking at here, but he's having results. I wouldn't say that he's absolutely blowing up the StatCast leaderboards as a hitter, because he's definitely not. He's still chasing 40% of the time. That's never going to change. He's 4th percentile in chase rate. He's 40th percentile in strikeout rate. Like, he doesn't have any crazy offensive numbers, but he is done enough, and hitting 300 with a 336 OBP and hitting 3 homers has been enough to give him 4 batting run value points on StatCast, which is 70th percentile. Like, that's pretty darn good. So you see 70th percentile and everything is light blue. It's kind of wild.
It's probably not sustainable, but I mean, compared to the last 2 years, this is a massive, massive improvement and benefit. It's actually a benefit for the Tigers.
Yeah, right, and because now they can rest guys, they can rotate guys in at DH because they've got Trey Sweeney at short. They've got, is it Parker Meadows or Kerry Carpenter that plays third when it's not Javi? Who?
McKinstry.
Oh, McKinstry, and probably Jace Young at some point too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so they can rotate these guys in. They can have Riley Green and all their other outfielders out there, and so having Javi being able to field any position is a benefit. He's kind of taking over more of like a Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez role now.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So, and it's good to see him actually having some success.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Cool. Do you have any other guys? If not, we're sitting right at an hour. So,
just an overall comment on these leaderboards. They're very interesting, but we gotta take them with a grain of salt. It's very early in the season. I think these numbers can change quite a bit as we go along, but also it's passing the sniff test for me. Like, I don't see any names on this list of guys that are like don't have good reputations as defenders. I see other names like Ceddanne Rafaela, Bobby Witt Jr., Carlos Correa, Patrick Bailey. Like, these guys are all known as really good defensive players. I guess that's a little outside of the scope of this conversation because we were talking about speed.
Yeah.
Well, speed and defense, but yeah.
But I'll also add to that, like, I have it filtered to where I can see multiple seasons at once. And you see some guys from a couple seasons ago pop up at the top of the leaderboard that don't show up again. And the eye test kind of tells you that too. Because like Luis Robert Jr., tons of steals, great player. His defense has not been nearly as good the last year or two as it was a few years ago when he was a Gold Glover and just There has been a little bit of regression defensively. Is that permanent? Maybe not. He might go have a spectacular defensive season here this year. But it is just really interesting to look at some of these leaderboards on a multi-year basis, and you can kind of see the progression of individual players throughout their career. And I think it just goes to show you that StatCast and some of these advanced statistics are incredibly good at representing what is happening on the field, and that some of the old heads that don't really like all these newfangled statistics, well, there's a reason they exist.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't always know what to do with them, but I like to look through them and kind of match them up to what we see on the field, and that's the way that I use them, and I think they work for defense.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
So there's still some development on defensive statistics needed because defense is incredibly hard to quantify. But it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of figuring that out. So kudos to Mike Petriello and the team on StatCast.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, I think that pretty well wraps up our episode for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know who your speed defense superlatives are, or your opinions on the Devers, Rockies, or Pirates situations. You can find us on social media at Getaway Day Pod. You can also send us questions if you want to on social media, or getawaydaypod@gmail.com. I would love to do a mailbag episode. That'd be super fun. So we're going to need to start getting people to send us questions. So thank you very much. We will see you guys next week, and have a great rest of your day.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.